Hey, welcome, Pathfinder Kingmaker. I've decided to play this and catalogue it as a stream because I've spent about 300 hours on this game and I've only ever got halfway through it. I stop and get bored. It's a long game. Really long game. So yeah, I will be playing it without following any guides or builds, which means I will probably not make super optimal characters. I've got some ideas of what I want to do, but yeah, I'm just going to go with the flow and stick with it. That's the idea. I did this before with Pillars of Eternity. I did a 100-hour playthrough on the YouTubes. I subsequently deleted those videos for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, I don't expect anyone to really watch this or be interested. I'm really doing this because this seemed to help me get through the game. I have a real issue concentrating. So if I dedicate an hour here, an hour there to this over the next few months, I'll get there. That's the idea anyway. I'm currently recovering from COVID, feel a bit rough, and yeah, I may end up spending some time in front of the screen. So anyway, how are we playing? I'm just clicking normal. When it comes to kingdom management, at the end of the prologue chapter, I'm going to switch this to auto because I have no interest in managing my kingdom. Going to play with Valerie as my main tank, Harim as my off-tank buffer, debuffer, Lindsay's the bard, and I'm going to have I've forgotten her name. I'm going to have an arcane trickster, and yeah, it's going to be great. Let's see. I've got some DLCs. I can make tieflings, which are pretty cool. Let's see, she's a little bit purple. That'll do. What class to play? Again, I've tried this so many times. What does she look like? Well, she looks like a thief. But I'm not going to be swayed by the image of her portrait. What do I really want to play? What do I enjoy? I enjoy the Alchemy Grenadier with the just pure amount of AoE you can get out of her. What do I feel like I'm missing? Don't know. What's a Kineticist? Kineticists are living channels for elemental matter and energy, manipulating the world around them by drawing upon inner reserves from their own bodies. Interesting. What do they get? I have no idea what a Kineticist is. This was added in the DLC, and therefore it is a bit of a blind run. Well, maybe I should play that. She gets kinetic blast. Yeah, I have no idea. I'm just going to go with it. I don't... Motherless is what I usually go for. Strength and wisdom. I don't really know what stats are good. Nice. Select that. Let's look at our skills. So it's telling me dexterity and con are good. You can't always trust these little thumb ups. But let's put it to the test. How good is this game at hand holding? If that's what it recommends, maybe I could do a little bit more work in reading up. So the channel, they're living channels for elemental matter and energy, manipulating the world around them by drawing upon inner reserves from their own bodies. Kineticists often awaken to their kinetic abilities during a violent, traumatic experience, releasing their power involuntarily. Okay. As kinetic power is seldom inherited, kineticists are rarely able to find mentors to guide them, so they must delve into these mysteries on their own to learn control of their gifts. Kineticists generally use their powers to assail their foes from ranged, but based on the way their talents are, they can channel kinetic abilities for a variety of situations. Kineticists are usually quite different from their families and friends, so they often strike out on their own or alongside others. So ranged usually indicates dexterity. I can choose an element of which to focus. Get an infusion. Kinetic blast. One hand free. So does a kineticist even have weapons? Heritage. If it's con and just trying to find the one that's got do I really want to play this? For my first time playing for the entire game, maybe this is ridiculous and I should start something that's simple, more simple. That's the problem with these games. So many choices. Could play a Paladin he looks mighty, doesn't he? Martial classes are pretty tough to beat, really. They're really straightforward. If I don't, know what I'm doing, shall we say, I might not be able to beat this guy, Maybe I'm wimping out by... Maybe I shouldn't be worried too much about the class. Maybe that's where I go wrong all the time. Think about class and leveling. What about story? What about the experience? I just play a straight up Paladin. Make him swing a reach weapon as hard as he can whilst doing some support stuff. How about that? Right, so Paladins use their charisma. They also use their strength. And having some con probably doesn't hurt. I know they get bonuses to saves according to their charisma at a certain point, so that's worth having something good at. will save already. Don't need to buff wisdom in that sense. Am I going to bother with dexterity? He's not a front liner. He's a second row fighter, I guess. When I get access to Ekondeo, I will swap Amiri out and have my ranger, because he absolutely slaps with that devourer of metal. I could make... Yeah, I can make him... He can be the face of the party because he's going to have high persuasion. Never really understand the skills here. Athletics, because he's a martial character. It's also... I may be wrong here. This is great. I'm going to just bust out theories all the time about what I think about the game, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. This having athletics means I'm less likely to get fatigued as easily. Let's make him mobile as well. Moving on to abilities. Now then, I want to give him a reach weapon of some sort. Glaive. I don't know if there are any glaives available. I'll give him power attack as well. And I think Shelyn, the goddess of art, beauty, love and music, favoured weapon, glaive. There we go. It's going to start off with power attack. So you get -1 on melee attack rolls, but it gets +2 on damage rolls. And I might get someone to enlarge person him and then give him cleave later on, so he can just stand there and whack, whack, just get loads of extra attacks, I guess. Let's make him brave.
I won't give up.
No, he looks a bit dark, but he's not. He's just... He is lawful good. And... names. You know, I've just got a load of multivitamins and such on my desk. Oh, Omega fish oil. Omeg the Paladin.
We cannot be defeated.
We cannot be defeated. Yes. So I don't really understand the Smite Evil mechanic. See, I've played Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I understand that a bit more. Oh, doesn't matter. Smite Evil. If the target is evil, Paladin adds her charisma bonus to her attack rolls and adds her Paladin level to all damage rolls. Okay, so it just basically means I just gotta inspect people to see if they're evil and then smite them. And remember to do that. I've been playing in turn-based mode. At some point in the future I may toggle the turn-based.
Our story started at the mansion of an Aldori sword lord. Drawn by the promise of a most dangerous task and a commensurately huge reward, heroes of all stripes gathered here.
Okay.
Where are they? This is taking forever. They didn't even say what this was for, just that the Aldori were looking for heroes. Who are the Aldori anyway? Rich folk?
Yeah, pretty much.
If you can't be patient, no one's keeping you here. Just go back to your mountains or whatever hole you crawled out of. The Aldori Sword Lords run the premier school for the dueling arts. They're also the richest and most influential group in this part of Brevoy. Take that tone with them, and they'll teach you some manners pretty quickly.
Alright, Tartuccio.
All right, you purple toad, just shut your trap. And if you can't, I'll help you.
Hush! Quiet! They're coming.
Good old Amiri. She does absolutely smash things to pieces in the early game. So I'll be keeping her in the party.
Greetings, everyone. I am Sword Lord Jamandi Aldori, and this is Lord Mayor Yosef Selimius of Restov. Welcome to my mansion.
We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for responding to our call. You may be few, but that's unavoidable. We need only the best of the best for this task. And I see true heroes before me, strong and fearless, exactly what Restov needs.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Now, to the point. South of here, just beyond Brevoy's border, lies a region known as the Stolen Lands. This is disputed territory, and while it's long been claimed by nearby states, it's never been truly taken. I won't bore you with the legal technicalities. Suffice to say that anyone with enough courage and power to seize the Stolen Lands and name themselves Baron or Baroness, claiming dominion, well, none of the neighboring states would be able to challenge it. Of course, Restov would be first to recognize the legitimacy of this new state, as well as the noble title of its founder.
Okay.
Unfortunately, one serious obstacle stands between you and this title. A gang of bandits holds sway in the Stolen Lands. Their chief, who they call the Stag Lord, considers himself the rightful owner of these lands, and no one has yet been able to challenge his power. Bring me his head, and you'll be able to return to the Stolen Lands as their legal ruler. Any questions?
No, no questions. Pretty stoic guy. I'm just going to be like, it's clear as day.
Excellent. You venture forth tomorrow. For now, you can take some time to get to know one another better. Or you can head straight to your guest rooms to get some rest. You'll find we've already prepared supplies for you there. And thank you again for agreeing to take part in this expedition. I wish you luck.
Thank you again, with all my heart, for replying to this call. The flare in your eyes reveals your courage, the unshakable will that distinguishes true heroes. I look at you, O champions of Restov, and doubt not for a second that you'll be victorious. So venture forth toward your feet, go, and return in triumph.
Right. Okay, so... Oh, here's Lindsay.
My name's Lindsay. I'm a bard, though this is my first real adventure. So, shall we go teach this Stag Lord a lesson?
I'm Omeg. Pleased to meet you.
Likewise. Actually, I also wanted to ask you something. How do you feel about this Tartuccio fellow? I think he's pretty obnoxious personally. He appointed himself head of the team, and he's just after the Baron's crown, or whatever it is barons wear. Doesn't matter. I don't like him. I think you should be team leader. When I first saw you, I couldn't help but think, now here's a real hero. Someone who'll be praised in poems and songs. This is the person I'll write my book about.
I'm no hero, just a mercenary.
And what are you a mercenary for? Is it only riches? Or maybe you want glory, too? Don't you want your feats to be remembered and glorified for centuries? Just listen. You know what the trouble with most heroes' biographies is? They're always written years later, based on the tales of, best case, people who saw things from the outside. Worst case, someone heard about it from their brother, who heard it from their friend, who heard it from their cousin, and so on, adding a new batch of lies each time. Every time I read about a heroic journey, I think to myself, why didn't they just bring a bard with them to write it all down properly?
Nice.
And then I thought, I could be that bard. I just needed to find a suitable hero and volunteer to follow along on their glorious adventure. A great plan, huh? And here we are, with a heroic journey lying before us. Who's going to be the hero? Some dwarf who keeps muttering about how we'll all die? Or maybe that horrific scythe lady? Or, God's forbid, Tartuccio? No way.
But that barbarian, she looks pretty heroic. I think her name's Amiri.
Oh yeah, she's fantastic. You can tell she could tear a bear's head off with her bare hands, but she kind of scares me just a little. But, I mean, her sword's twice as big as I am. She could cut me down without even noticing. Just think on it a bit, all right? I'm sure you'll agree. All right, I'm going to my room to write about tonight. See you in the morning.
I mean, they railroad in the goodies and the baddies in that moment, right? But, you know, what if I was playing a evil character? I mean, Lindsay still has to kind of hang out with me. So she, if you haven't played this, she is the person narrating the whole story. Let's just check my gear a minute. Don't want a greatsword. Don't want a longbow. Glaive. Eventually, yeah, I think that's a bug. I'm still equipping all these things. Eventually, I'll be standing behind the tank and smashing things up. Here we go then. Let the adventure begin.
Help! Help!
What's going on?
The mansion's under attack. We need to help. Some villains broke in and started killing everyone. I barely made it. Hurry, we have to help the guards fight off the attackers or we'll all be cut down one by one.
Lindsay's gonna run off.
Charge!
Turn-based mode. It's just extend the combat log. So, if I push Y and mouse over people, oh, that person's flat-footed. Okay, that's great. So I can get them without their armor bonus to AC, I think. Yeah, the whole inspected stuff, I don't really know how it works. Anyways, turn it off. What do I have to hit? +4. Okay, so I'm going to roll.
We can
Let's
do
just
it.
hit. Right, let's look at that attack. So you only had armor class of 7. So yeah.
It is done.
Here we go. I don't know if I really want to do turn-based mode for the prologue, the tutorial area. Do I? The reason being, fights are all so easy, and it might just be quicker and less tedious to turn that off. Just go like that.
We won't falter.
You're just in time. A bit longer and I'd have been... Whew, I don't even want to think about it. Can you imagine what a terrible loss this would have been? But it's all right now. I'm safe, sound, and unscathed, ready to lead you to victory. Lady Jamandi's holding the line in the banquet hall. You know, the one where she had us gathered before. We need to make our way to her. And along the way, we'll try to save some of these dummies who are supposed to accompany us to the Stolen Lands. Speaking of dummies, take this ring. Quiet now, so that little fool doesn't hear us. She might try to steal it herself. It's magical. It'll protect you. You'll need it while you work to defend me.
Okay, well, he's just given me a ring, which is essentially a ring of protection +1. I've got scale mail. Because I don't have dexterity, I don't really care about it. I can wear full plate. Don't know if that will actually mess with my magic abilities or not, I don't know. We'll find out though. Thing with this, the writing in this is, what's the word I want to put? I want to think of a good way of saying it, but I don't have the words really. It's just cartoony. Where it's like, I've been playing Pillars of Eternity for a few years, on and off, and that's a lot more grounded, and dark.
We will be victorious.
Right. Now I decided I am going to stick to turn-based, as tedious as that may be. Okay, so He's a wizard.
This one to me.
Tartuccio. I'm just going to use cantrips. At this level, that's fine. They don't scale if you level the cantrips in this game, unfortunately. That's why when I play my Arcane Trickster, that's okay. Because she gets sneak attack bonus to her cantrips. As long as someone's create the environment for a sneak attack. Can I move? Yes, I can. Let's get up in their grill. Right. She's injured, but I don't really care.
Serves you right.
She can't die. She has a ring on her that teleports her off. She's got plot armor, basically.
Just die already!
Tartuccio, I don't like, because I'm lawful good. He clearly is being set up as a villain. So, right. Chaotic neutral. I mean, how do I know? How do I know that person's chaotic neutral? Do you know what I mean? I don't really get it.
We can do it!
Ooh, slippery.
You deserved it.
Time to get my hands dirty again!
Strike with all your might!
So let's just loot everything. I can come back. Well, no, at the end of this level, or at the end of this dungeon, I guess, it will automatically
I wrote it like I saw it.
Access. Yes.
give me the option to loot things. There's a Miri. We're introduced to her. Fighting.
Stealthy approach.
Let's get as close as we can, and then
Can you make an
there
epic
we
pose?
go.
I need inspiration.
Reason being, all my ranged characters are in range now. So at this level, Lindsay only on her first go is just about buff. I could have done that before the fight started, to be honest. That's an option. Can I charge it? Yes. I just love I don't have to get really close to fight with this weapon.
Oh, it's you. Stay up from under my feet or I'll strike you down.
Okay.
Blood for Gorum!
Barbarians.
I think that's exactly how heroes should be.
What, stupid, sweaty, and always looking for something to gobble up or lop the head off of? Calistria, save me from such heroes.
Yeah. So the characters are being defined very broadly and very obviously on
March
purpose.
on.
It's almost as if I'm watching like the 80s cartoon Dungeons and Dragons, you know. But it's the style they're going with, and it persists throughout the game, I guess. It's the tone. So I'll go along with it. God, I'd love to play RPG where they just let you choose, I don't know, Frost Giant or whatever that thing was, as a playable race. Pretty awesome. Would it? Don't know.
No stopping now.
Okay, we have a dexterity check.
Applause, please.
So they used Lindsay's stats to roll that. Right. This guy's got a bow. This guy's just an assassin. Alright, so this
Adventures
time round,
call to them.
let's start with Inspire Courage,
I tire
and then
of waiting.
charge in.
They dare to attack me?
Is that a surprise round? I don't know. Tartuccio is flat-footed. So is the bowman. So is the assassin. So I guess it is. Right.
Any last wishes?
Go. Ideally, at this level, I want my ranged characters to attack before I engage them in melee, because they take a -4 to their attack rolls
This is where I step in.
when someone's actually engaged. How come Omek hasn't fought yet? I don't understand the way they've done this. So, I don't really care. Just smash things, mate. Come on. There you go. Can I move in to engage them? Yes. My goodness, that's how close I need to get. Can I get attacks of opportunity in that distance? Let's see what happens. Yes, I can. Okay, I'm in love with this glade.
It is done.
Well, I love how he just sits down and prays after murking all those people. Right,
I'll
you're
make my
pretty
own legend.
Anything is
bashed up.
possible.
Let's pop a heal on you.
Yes.
Obviously, we're at that low-level stage of the adventure at the moment where people have hardly any hit points at all. It's pretty dangerous.
Anything else?
Right, so this is a room full of treasure and stuff. If I was a thiefy type person, I'd probably steal the coins that are hidden about this room. I think there's some treasure, there's a lockbox there. I'm going to leave it. The reason is, later on, it dictates who your starting companions are. You know, the behaviour you do here has a bearing on it. Now, let's just go through what we picked up, because I may prefer that. So it's arcane spell failure chance. As far as I know, that doesn't. Well, I'm not an arcane caster. Look, don't have a spell book. Well, I do, just cannot cast spells at this level. What is that? Oh, hello. Could put that on for fun. Let's just do that. Actually, you know what? 1 AC. Is it really worth it? No. I'm just going to vendor this when I get to the next shop. However, potions. You don't need these potions. And that'll do. Let's stack. Oh yeah, don't you just love inventory management?
Oh, familiar faces. I hope you're not so frightened as to swing at every shadow. It's me, Jaethal. I don't recommend advancing down the hallway, assuming you value your life, of course. There were a few people with me, and you can see what happened to them.
And just how did they all end up dead while you don't seem to have a scratch?
I'll answer but briefly and just once. Further scares and explanations will wait until we aren't being hunted by a group of assassins. Deal? All right. I'm undead. These traps are deadly to the living, but they're harmless to me.
What do you mean undead? Really? Like zombies or skeletons or...
As I said, further explanations will wait until later. All you need to know right now is that we're on the same side, and we have to fight off a small army of hired assassins. Let's get to it.
Okay, she is an Inquisitor, which again, I have no idea what an Inquisitor is really. I know that she acts, well, she has some cleric spells and she has martial abilities, and I never play with her because she's annoying. But
Follow me.
in a sort of RP sense, I'm not going to assume she's bad
I
just
see
because she's
something.
undead. Who knows? Although let's look at her character sheet.
Applause,
'Cause
please.
she's definitely evil.
No stopping now.
How curious.
Again, I'm not really concerned about evil playthroughs. They always just seem a little
Applause,
bit...
please.
I don't know. Do people who are evil think they're evil?
Anything else?
Do they? People who do quote-unquote
Onwards.
evil things probably feel justified or compelled in the moment to do it. I'm not saying that they're blameless, of course. But what is evil? The nature of evil. I think we're all too Judeo-Christian about good and evil. Right? If an allied country launches a drone strike and accidentally kills a busload of children, someone somewhere is going to look at that and think that's evil, right?
Just die already!
Who knows? I'm not really an expert on these things. Running low on charges of her Inspire Courage. It gives everyone a +1 to their attacks, though. It's very tasty. Not that we really need to worry too much about stuff at this level.
Time to get my hands dirty again.
This game works in.
We can do it.
This game kind of works in the reverse of a lot of RPGs. A lot of RPGs you get really tough by the end. However, this I find the game gets quite tough as time goes on.
March on.
So
And Lindsay was called for.
there is a puzzle here, which for years and years I didn't realise. There are two doors. There's a door here and a door here. And I have a little guide. Here we go. So,
Ask.
1, 2,
Just
top
letting
corner,
the ink
3.
dry.
Great. Door's open. But if you go down here, pop that one, and then
You
pop
have
this
my
one,
attention.
second door opens.
Request.
What troubles you?
So there's lots of fat loot. I don't know if it really is fat loot. I mean, it all seems like vendor trash to me.
Speak.
Again, this isn't seen as particularly bad, what we're doing here. We don't get, I don't think we get called out for what we just did, which was go into their secret rooms and nick a load of stuff. I mean, what we just pinched, I mean, what's that? So if I was a monk, that might be useful. A wand of magic missile is nice. Let's give it to her. Well, we've got a shield of faith, scroll of bless. If I knew the game mechanics really well, I'd probably enjoy playing this on a harder difficulty. But again, it's a bit of a mystery to me. It's not quite as bad as the Baldur's Gate games, which, yeah, I know, people love those games, but just
Out of my way!
the story's cool. I just hate the combat. That's 1 and 2, by the way, not 3, which I haven't had much experience of playing. Okay, so these guys all pretty much get a go first. I could give myself +1. I could do that before combat starts, really, I guess.
Wretched things.
Yeah, because I missed there. What was I roll? I rolled 9 and I need to roll 10. See, yeah, I guess buffs are worth it. I mean, what's their AC? 10. So I just need to roll 10.
Strike with all your might.
And then chances are right, so Lindsay seems to be automatically rolling a check on them. So what did I roll there? I rolled an 18.
We won't falter.
Anyway, yeah, Lindsay seems to be rolling a check, a nature check. to see what their stats are. Well, let's do that anyway. Let's give everyone +1, especially as well. I'm gonna do magic missile, which doesn't miss, and at this level does the same damage as its cantrip anyway. Okay, so
Despicable.
let's get her to move as close as possible. So there's our little NPC friend.
Everything is so much fun with a little fire. What a night, huh? I thought I was all alone. It's good you're here. A bit boring, chasing fool assassins without anyone watching the show.
I mean, it's the unrealistic attitudes towards combat right there, okay? No one would say that. No one would really say that in a fight when the mansion's being burned down and you... No one would.
It's not fun at all. Many people have died for nothing.
Yeah, and that would be a sensible reply to someone saying something silly like that. Yeah, you sound like a Kelishite, am I right?
Of course. I'm from Kadira. But tales of hot deserts and shady oases can wait until the fighting's finished. But if you'd like to share a dinner and pleasant conversation, just say the word. I like making new friends.
We have to go.
I don't know where you're heading, but I'll be at the entrance to the main hall. I think I saw some guards there. Join me there, if you wish.
Okay. After I finish rummaging through all these people's bodies. Oh look, there's a dwarf.
Brutus, I can sense your silhouette hovering over me. It won't be much longer. Soon we shall meet, O Lord of Oblivion.
So this is the Dwarven Cleric. I think his god is Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Right, so I can roll. Interesting. So Tartuccio's got Intimidate 9. Well, let's try diplomacy first. Aren't you being a bit premature? Look at yourself, you've barely got a scratch.
That's impossible. Oh, it seems you might be right. It seems I will live. I suppose I must postpone meeting my god, not for long, I'm sure. But while we remain in this transient world, Aaron is at your service.
Okay, he has a shield, so let's pop him at the front.
No
Although,
stopping
apparently
now.
this game, shield tanks aren't the best tanks. You're better off having like a combination of monk and paladin and fighter. It gets confusing.
You, run and get an axe. You, bring more water. You, stay here and hold our defense. Those assassins are still around here somewhere. Aha! Some of our guests survived. Good. You need to get to the banquet hall and help Lady Jamandi.
Alright, I'll go immediately.
Fire doesn't frighten me, thanks to hell's blood running in my veins. I'll go ahead and wait for you on the other side. Catch up!
And we don't see you again till like, the next chapter.
May Abadar keep you safe.
That's not true, she is fighting in the next bit. But right, here's the first of our little scripted stories. As soon as this gets out of the way, and so our adventure started. Earlier, much more tragic than we expected, the whole team who'd gathered in the hall yesterday had been reduced to but a handful of brave souls led by Omeg, and not at all by that scoundrel Tartuccio, no matter what he might have imagined of himself. Jamandi Eldori was waiting for us, but we had to go to get to her. We'd have to march through fire. Literally, as we approached the burning building, we drenched ourselves with buckets of water. Prudence is the key to victory. Before moving through the fire, we thoroughly wet our clothes and hair. After that, we covered our noses and mouths before we rushed inside. Good thing we hadn't wasted our time after entering the building and taking just a few steps forward. The wall behind us slanted and crashed down with a terrible cracking sound, blocking the way back. While we may not have planned on going back, if we'd come in a little later, the flaming logs and red-hot bricks would have fallen right on our heads. Regardless, we were left with only one way to go. hot air burned our lungs and our eyes watered from the smoke, but Omeg led us stubbornly through the flames, while Tartuccio did nothing useful at all. We made it to the hallway leading to the banquet hall when we heard someone calling for us. It was Valerie, one of the guards I chatted with a bit in the banquet hall. Even then, in that calm setting, I'd been stunned by her beauty. But now, amid the smoke and flame, she looked like a celestial avenger, an armoured deity, menacing but beautiful and merciful, descending from the higher spheres to help us poor mortals. Come on, get to the point, Lindsay. She held a burned, barely living guard in her arms. There are 2 more, she shouted as she passed us. They are wounded. Help me pull them out. Tartuccio grumbled somewhere about how Jamandi was waiting for us. Meanwhile, Omeg. Oh, hold on, there's a guy called Oleg later on. Oh well, it'll be awkward between them, but I'm sure they'll laugh about it. Omeg rushed to save the guards from the fire. And succeeded. Saving the poor fellows didn't take long. Together we lifted them up and carried them away from the fire. Only then did Valerie pause to catch her breath and wipe the sweat from her face. Thank you. That was truly noble of you. And now let us rush to Aldori's side. Ensuring the guards we'd rescued were relatively safe, we made our way to the hall, where the battle was already in full swing. As you can see, that event left Valerie fatigued. Now, Valerie is a tower shield specialist. She is our main tank.
Follow me.
And she's like a paladin who has decided to leave being a paladin behind, so she's just a fighter. Well, not just a fighter, she's pretty good. But I'm not gonna... Well, I'm going to use her as a fighter, but I'm also going to make use of her persuasion to make enemies afraid. That's the way I'm going to build her anyway. So she can do something called Dazzling Display, which causes people to be afraid later on when I get the right feats. And then once you add Power Attack and Carnigan Smash in at 1 level of Rogue Thug, she makes people afraid when she hits them. Which is what I want. Okay, find the key to this game is not just damage, it's debuffs. Okay, this fight takes ages and is dull as dishwater, so I really am going to just switch to real-time calls and let the AI do its thing. Actually, maybe get him to bless. Oh no, he just got killed. That's fine. I don't care. Right. Let's just loot some stuff. Thank you. Right, and let's get this show on the road. I just chatted to Jamandi Aldori.
Thank you for your valor and bravery. The enemy was strong, but you were stronger, and that means I made the right choice. Just as I thought, there were worthy leaders among you. I'm especially grateful to them for the courage and common sense they showed while defending the mansion. But this attack means we have even less time than I thought. Someone already knows of our plans and is acting against us. You'll begin your expedition immediately.
Lady Aldori, please, I know who arranged this attack. The vile king of Pitax, Iroveti. What's more, I know who among us works for him. Hey, you! Show everyone the ring you're wearing. You think I wouldn't recognize Iroveti's seal? That's why he wasn't killed. The bandits recognized him as one of their own by this signet ring.
Okay, so I passed that world check, which means if I select this option, it will work. The diplomacy, though, I have to roll a 10. I have to pass a DC 10. And as I got diplomacy +8, chances are I'll pass it. So let's do it. Tartuccio is trying to set me up. He's the one who gave me this ring.
Yes. Such a gambit would be typical of Iroveti and his henchmen. And yet, it still seems suspicious.
And of course, I get 9 XP for that.
There's
It's worth
definitely
doing,
a spy among us. But who? All I have is one word against another. I'm afraid you're both under suspicion.
They both came to your aid, Lady Jamandi. But a liar's cunning knows no bounds. I've never met these two or their companions. For all I know, they're all conspiring spies.
How could you say that? We fought together. We literally went through fire together. And then you vanished into thin air. After you promised you'd wait.
My words might be rash.
Yep.
I bet my life despise anyone but this man. I saw how he dealt with those creeps with my own eyes. A true warrior. I'd go with him through hell and high water. This purple crook, on the other hand, he's got the eyes of a spy and the mug of a spy.
And cup and saucer of a spy.
Lady Eldori, don't listen to this thick-headed barbarian. She doesn't know what she's talking about. During the attack, our leader showed his true colors. He forced us to break into the armory and rob it.
Okay, diplomacy 11. Hey, face of the character, face of the team. Having high charisma is decent. Alright, forgive my trespass. In my defense, we were in the middle of battle and in dire need of weapons.
An attack
Oh,
is no reason
what did
to
I
break
roll?
into rooms in someone else's house and pocket their property.
I rolled a 1, so, you know, it happens.
That was a sound decision. Sometimes one must act at one's own risk and peril, until crossing the boundaries of what is allowed. Showing initiative is no crime.
Thank you, Valerie.
It is insane when faced with death to stop and question whether you may be breaking some law or rule. Even more insane would be to ask forgiveness for making the right decision. Sorry, but your words display a lack of wisdom.
So yeah, we're starting to see who likes me and who doesn't like me, judging by my behaviour. So that's a positive to this game.
What about that trick he pulled right before we came in here? He knew very well you were fighting the enemy, but instead of rushing to help you, he dallied as long as he could, dropping everything to save people from the fire, even though the guards were handling things just fine. He was obviously hoping to show up too late and find you already dead.
People were dying in front of me. How could I just walk by?
Really, Tartuccio? You're seriously trying to blame someone for saving people from a fire?
11 XP. Choose drive.
A true leader
double
is
click.
someone who has their priorities straight, not someone who would put a valuable ally's life in danger for the sake of some servant.
Oh, shut up, Jathal.
Enough squabbling. I'm still not sure which of you I can trust. However, the risk of entrusting the whole affair to a spy is too great. Here's what we'll do. 2 teams will head out. That way, I'll know at least one group can be counted on to serve my interests in the stolen lands.
Lady Eldori, most of those who were to set off for the stolen lands have been killed. Those who yet live will require help. Please allow me to join the expedition.
I'm sad to lose such a talented warrior. But you're right, Valerie. They have greater need of you right now. Go, and may Abadar keep you. Which of the 2 teams would you prefer to accompany?
If my leader allows, I would join his team. He seems a worthy commander in my eyes.
Commanders, military leaders, all these laws and rules are but dust and vanity. I suppose I will accompany Tartuccio.
Our leader is good in battle, but I don't like all the spiritual agonizing. I prefer those who can act without wasting time helping every little pipsqueak. Those like Tartuccio.
Ugh, Tartuccio's going to take the credit for himself and be done with it. Shellen, spare me from such allies. I'm going with you. You're a hero worthy of my quill.
As for me, I know neither of these 2. At least not well enough. And I have no wish to become an unwitting pawn to an unworthy leader. If Lady Jamandi allows, I'll remain in Restov and help mend the wounds this attack has inflicted. But who knows? The road may bring me to the stolen lands, but not yet.
I don't even need to think. I'm coming with this man. As for you, Purple Toad, just wait until we meet along the way. I'll be sure to hang your rotten spy guts from the trees.
No, I don't get a choice in who comes at all here. At this point, obviously, I could have metagamed and changed my behaviour. I'm just saying, I don't get a choice.
All right, we have 2 teams. To avoid unnecessary conflict on the road, you'll each take a different route to the Stolen Lands. Tartuccio's team will go through Navacta's Crossing. The garrison commandant will provide him all the help he needs. You will take your team to Oleg Leviton's trading post. He's been complaining about the Stag Lord's bandits for a while now. There, you'll be provided with all the necessary travel supplies.
Okay, so I get camping supplies and rations. Signed scroll of Raised Dead.
I'd like to believe you, but I know all too well how convincing traitors and spies can be. If you're truly innocent, I hope you can forgive me this precaution. While you're away, Keston will investigate the night's events and learn who in Restov is working for Patax. But you should know that it isn't just Patax we need to worry about. The Royal House of Sertova may also interfere in our plans. I've managed to keep this affair a secret from them so far, but that can't last long. By my estimations, you have no more than 3 months. After that, any feats you accomplish will be pointless. And now, farewell. This battle was but the first ordeal along your path, and you overcame it as true champions of Restov. May the obstacles that follow also fall to your feet. Fear nothing, my friends, and return victorious.
Boo.
Surviving a terrible night, our small team set off to brave our fate. Beware, Stolen Lands. Heroes are on the way.
Right, so never played Pathfinder tabletop, but this is something called an adventure path, and therefore it's lots of little chapters. I think there are 6, maybe more, maybe 7. Stolen Land is kind of the prologue chapter still. Yeah, so we're going to go. We're going to unseat the Stag Lord and stop all of the bandits, and that's our mission. And if we do it properly, we become the Baron. Yeah. Here we go. We're still in kind of tutorial mode. The next couple of things that happen are tutorially. This is our overworld map. Now I'm just going to rearrange the order of people so that we get Valerie and Emiri up front, Lindsay at the back when we fight. This is scripted. There's always a random encounter on the way that we can't skip or avoid, which is annoying. I kind of wish I could mod out the random encounters, except for the scripted ones, of course. Let's go back to turn-based. Right, Emiri, and she is raging, so let's just get her to just go and slap that thing around and miss. Great. Valerie's going to be fighting defensively, which means she takes minus to her attack. Let's have a look at Valerie as she attacks eventually. Right, so Valerie, she takes -2 because she's got a tower shield, and -4 because she's fighting defensively, but she's got her sword, inspire courage, and charge, which counteracts those things. Let's finish that thylacine off. Okay. Charge is a nice little ability. I could just walk in and attack, but charge just seems better. And Lindsay, let's just do a crossbow attack.
Do not falter.
Kind of see Lindsay's role as buffer, debuffer. She's not going to be a powerhouse of damage. But yeah, So the way I build my team is I have 3 strong damage dealers and then 1 tank. And 2 that are hybrids. They heal, buff, debuff. Probably a cleric and a bard. But it's hard. I wouldn't recommend playing this without those buffs, especially later on in the game when creatures do have.
I'm hungry.
Right,
When we
not
stop.
resting yet. Enemies I face later will have damage I need to work out to overcome. Right, I'm resting before we go in, and I'm going to manage that resting. Wow, yeah. Stealth is very low. Well, I'm a paladin.
You want your name to be glorified through the
I'm
age.
skipping these with a spacebar because let's just get through it. Hey, Lindsay cooked us a meal. That means we get a bonus to saving throws. Let's see, Oleg's trading post. This is going to be our base of operations for the first chapter of the game.
No stopping now.
It looks like bandits are having a go at the trading post. In the name of the Stag Lord, the lawful authority of the stolen lands, we demand this week's tax and some beer. And where's that pretty wife of yours? She should serve us dinner. Quiet down, dimwit. We're just here for the Stag Lord's tax. Hand over the money and we'll be on our way. You want to drink some of my blood too? I'm sick of you. You're like locusts. You think you control everything around here just because you put up that painted rag of yours. You come here, squeeze us dry and come here. Oleg, a large man with a rough face, stops talking and notices you. Ah, you must be the guest from Restrov. Neutral good. I'm not interested in bloodshed, but I won't let you rob this man. Be on your way, and I'll let you go in peace. The woman smiles coldly. All right, we'll leave, but what makes you think we won't just return with greater numbers? Why would we leave when we've got easy pickings from Restov before us? We'll rip out your guts and empty your pockets. Fight time. Right, this just means it automatically ends the turn if we run out of stuff to do. That's why I just clicked yes to. And why not? Lindsay, back up, mate. There we go. Amiri is getting angry. You won't like her when she's angry. I mean, you will if you're watching this, because she's awesome. Let's charge into that guy and slap him. Can I get to you or you? No, I'll get to you though. There we go. Right. Oh, yeah. There we go. Now then, let's cast that. So, Bandit is now dazed. So that's good. Nope. So I'm guessing it won't be able to make an attack when it's dazed. Not that it really matters. I did it mainly for the damage. What did Lindsay? She shouldn't do 3 damage, but whatever. Let's move in to that guy. So he did something. Okay. Well, I've leveled up. Now then, before we chat to Oleg, let's just level up quickly, because that's what it's all about. Right, take a point of fighter on her. Gonna give her mobility, because putting points into mobility is the secret to early game. I'm gonna put a proficiency in her, or weapon focus in her sword she uses as well. Just give her a little bit more attack. That's it, simple as that. Giving her mobility means the
I am your
reduction
shield.
in attack she gets from that is reduced eventually.
Well,
Now, she's going to be pure barbarian, but let's give her athletics and mobility and lore nature, because she's, until we get our ranger, she's going to be doing the hunting and foraging when we rest. Let's give her perception too, why not? Going to give her animal fury, which adds a bite attack when she does a full attack. So if she's standing right next to someone and doesn't have to move, she will do 2 attacks instead of 1, which is tasty. Paladin, level 2. What tasty things do we get at level 2? I don't know. His buff is persuasion. That's athletics, mobility. Oh yes, he gets lay on hands. And divine grace. Right. If you remember at the beginning, he had +2 to will. Now he has 7. So charisma. I'm gonna be buffing his charisma and strength as we go through the game. And Lindsay, it's just pure bard. Again, there are lots of little munchkin builds you can do. I'm mainly not going to do that. Right, so Arcana, World, Persuasion, Magic. Actually, I don't need her to do Persuasion. Can just chuck one in nature as well, why not? Actually, no. There you go. Let's give her +5 to that. Athletics. Again, give everyone a little bit of athletics. Right, I'm not going to go weapon focus with her. I'm going to actually chuck in point blank shot, which does the same thing, but point blank shot leads to another ranged perk feat. It gives us, it takes away that -4 to fighting in combat. She'll get that next. Now then, I could go Grease. Grease is great, but trouble is my melee fighters fall over in it as well. So I'm going to go Hideous Laughter, which is great. When I fight, when I come up against someone I want to take out of the fight, I'll pop Hideous Laughter on them. Especially like mages, basically, enemy mages. They can really spoil our fun if we're not careful. Right, let's chat to Oleg. So that you scoundrels. But now, the girl got away. A plague on her. She's certain to complain to the Stag Lord. They came before to collect taxes, but this time they'll come to punish treason. Now, what are we to do? If only I could send Svetlana somewhere safe and show those rats what's what. That's his wife, Svetlana. Notice this fair-haired woman approach. Dove, why are you here? I told you to stay hidden. It's all over, I saw it. I just need to be sure you're all right. The woman looked at her husband tenderly, if with a hint of sorrow. Oleg mumbles something as he looks away embarrassed. My name is Svetlana. I'm sorry your arrival to our trading post turned out so unwelcoming. I want to see your goods. I just want to vendor stuff. Because everywhere I go, I'm overburdened, and that does have an impact on what happens to us after a while. I'm going to try as much as possible to just save my gold in the opening chapters of the game. I'm going to save that braces of armor for when I meet our wizard at some point in the future. Let's just get rid of all this trash though. We don't want to become over encumbered. Loot Simulator 2021 is not why I played this game. Right. I'm prepared for the attack. Get in your positions and wait. Fear not, I'll stand between you and this scum. You're under my protection. Miri flexes her shoulders. Finally a fight. A Bordal was talking. Well, these aren't the heroics I was hoping to write about, but I guess even the greatest heroes have to start somewhere. I see you're not easily cowed. I'll help you fight. I've got a box of Alchemist's fire we can use. We can put it by the gate and set it off with a burning arrow when those bandits get close. I'll even shoot the arrow myself. I used to be pretty good with a crossbow. Alright, I like your idea. I beg you, be careful. Please don't let Oleg do anything too risky. Svetlana, go inside. We're going to meet our guest. Right, here we go. So, I could have done lots of things. I could have set up some tar by the gate. I could have set some traps up.
We will prevail.
But it, you know, I want to get this fight over and done with quickly. So, we're doing it this way. They're not that bad. If I hit space, it speeds up all of their moves. Okay, so I've got two options here. Could buff people. I'm going to buff people. That's fine. And so that fire bomb he did at the beginning has definitely weakened them. Okay, Valerie, why don't you come on over? I could rush in, start picking these off with Valerie, but actually what I'm going to do is get to the ranged classes as quick as possible, because every time they attack, they provoke attacks of opportunity. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to pause it there, and I'll be back